Turning the pages on the history of the Alice, here's Legendary Territorians by Reg Harris.
In this next edition of another tale from the town of Auntie Alice, Olive Muriel Pink was already a legend in Alice Springs when local legend himself, Reg Harris, first heard of her, the town's #1 stirrer, a woman who had left the New South Wales Railway during the Depression and devoted the rest of her life to improving conditions for Aboriginal people. She moved alone into the desert, living in a tent at Thompson's Rock Hole on the Tanami Track, convinced the need was greatest there. She wrote constantly, firing off fierce letters to the government departments. Every office in the Northern Territory had a Miss Pink file, several inches thick. She travelled in a battered 1924 Chevrolet buckboard. Her reputation grew from stories like the time Works Chief D&D Smith found her walking the Tanami Track and offered to give her a lift. She struck him with her handheld bundle and ordered him away, convinced all white men were potential threats. Another time, camping overnight with transport operator Sam Irvine, she warned him she slept with a loaded revolver under her pillow. Sam famously replied that with a face like hers, she hardly needed one. She even once demanded to inspect conditions in the Alice Springs jail. When refused, she deliberately committed a minor offence to get herself locked up. The head jailer rushed to the courthouse and paid her fine to keep her out. Reg first met her when a tennis ball landed in a yard beside the courts. As Reg retrieved it, she confronted him in full Victorian dress, accusing him of stealing her grapes. Nothing Reg said changed her mind. From then on, Reg watched her with interest. Her superannuation was meagre, to say the least, and she refused the pension, so she sold flowers to survive. She also bought biscuits to give Aboriginal hospital patients, even those on strict diets. When she asked Reg to repair an ancient electric jug, he charged as little as possible. Any hint of charity would have earned a scolding. In the early 1950s, the new fire brigade next door became her brand new enemy. Loud radios, accusations of stolen oranges, even a hose turned on her. She took them to court and won a restraining order. She also harassed the district officer daily until he finally arrived and had her evicted from her hut in 1955. Senior officials, however, admired her persistence and her pertinence. They created a 49-acre flora reserve and made her as its honorary curator, offering her the old provost's hut for around £5. Bureaucratic delays meant she camped under a tree for 15 months before it was rebuilt. With her Aboriginal gardener, Johnny, she planted river gums, mulgas, desert oaks and more, fighting to keep them alive through the 1960s drought. By 1963, at that time nearly 80 years old, she asked Reg Harris about air conditioning for her hut. Instead, friends and Reg built her a small insulated room, her igloo, which she absolutely adored. Olive Pink lived simply on sliced ham, white bread, lime cordial, no stove, no fridge. She kept a wet patch of concrete for cooling. She treasured the memory of her fiancé, Captain Harold Southern, killed at Gallipoli, and quietly placed flowers at the Anzac Memorial each year. Her friendships were fragile, a perceived slight could end them instantly. Yet some officials were won over by her kindness, including Frank Dwyer and District Officer Bill Nordsman. In her final years, she prepared for death, distributing her belongings. She died in 1975, likely hastening her end to avoid another Central Australian summer. She was buried in the Aboriginal section of the cemetery, her grave marked with a sandstone headstone facing west. Even in death, still a rebel.
Join us next time for more stories and Legendary Territorians by Reg Harris.